This video is going to be choppy because I'm really bad at putting thoughts together. Just putting that out there. The purpose of this video is really for two things. For me personally, to remember where I started, where I came from, but also for those interested in how, I got started and why I'm doing this. First, I guess a little bit about me. So I'm not used to being in front of the camera at all. And out of kind of just nervousness, I didn't even say my name. So hi, everyone. My name is Max Gracia. I'm the owner of CMG. And yeah, let's just continue with the video. I won't say much because I did a podcast that went a little bit more in depth about who I am and where I come from. So I'll probably leave a link in the description about for that podcast. Back when my wife and I were buying our first house, we went into kind of a fixer-upper situation. And that was fine. That's kind of what we wanted. We wanted a house that, we could work on, call it our own. But we didn't know exactly how much of a fixer-upper it was. So we thought we were just going to do a little paint, maybe just, change a few things here and there. But it ended up being a situation where the kitchen needed a complete remodel, and we ended up going into a little bit of debt with the kitchen situation. And well, in the end, it was okay. It was fine. My wife got a brand new kitchen out of it, and we were all happy. So that's kind of where we started with this house. Just not too long after we moved in, the AC decided to just quit. And I'm kind of a handyman. I know my way around, electrical, plumbing, things like that, general handy stuff. But when it came to the AC, I had no idea what I was doing or what I was even looking at there outside. So I called a few companies, and they both just, the two companies that I called that I remember very clearly didn't even send a guy out. The person on the phone was telling me that they don't even work on old systems no more, because they had the old refrigerant, and they proceeded to give me quotes for right around $5,000. The both of them, two different companies, did the exact same thing, and I just kind of remember the feeling like, no, these feels like they're trying to take advantage of me. I don't know anything about AC, but something didn't sit right. It seemed like, okay, well, maybe somebody could come look at it. Maybe it's a simple fix. I have no idea. So I called somebody that I knew that was, I guess, like a handyman too. And he came and looked at it for maybe 15 minutes and found out exactly what the problem was. He was able to do whatever he did, and didn't charge me that much at all. I think I paid like $180, and the AC was working again. And so I kind of, I was watching him, seeing what he was, doing. And I was like, man, I could have done that if I would have known. I started becoming a little interested in the AC, and I was like, I'm curious by nature. And when I saw him working, I like to learn things. So when I saw him, fixing the system, I was like, oh yeah, I was getting interested. And so, but at that time I didn't think much of it. I just went on and carried on, with my life. Not too long after that, the system decided to die again. And this is where I started seriously considering, what am I going to do here? Because I know it's going to be right around $5,000 to fix it. Eventually, I know this thing's gonna break down for sure. It was a pretty old system. I think it was original to the house. It might have been original to the house. And so I started to look into it. I'm like, okay, well, how hard could it be to fix this thing? Me and my fix-it mindset. And so I started doing some research, starting to see what licenses I need, what things that I need to get the certain refrigerants, the equipment, things like that. And after all my research and that I did on the computer, I concluded that I needed right around $3,000 to get the tools, the equipment, licenses, everything that I needed to replace my own system. So I was kind of getting excited. I was like, okay, makes sense. I'm pretty handy. I think I know my way around tools. I could do this. So I start down the process of getting licensed. And so I go and take like a 6-week course to get the EPA license, which I needed to get refrigerant. That's the only thing that at the time I needed to be licensed for. So I did it. I went and got my EPA license. And after taking the class, I actually learned a lot about air conditioning. Even though it was a really quick course, it was really fast paced, but I learned a lot. And I was able to diagnose my own system. I learned that there was just a leak in the system, and with my EPA license that I went and got, I was able to buy the refrigerant, fix the leak, and get my AC working again. And I was like, wow, that was not too hard. Cool. I at this time I wasn't even really thinking about switching careers. And so I had my EP license, I had a little bit of AC knowledge and fixed my AC, and I was really happy. But things started kind of change at work, and I started to I was at a job where there was no really room to grow. There was no no more room to grow. And I was basically at the peak of what I was going to accomplish there at that job. And I was reaching the peak of how much I could make too. And I really started thinking, if I were to lose this job, what would I have for my family? At that time I had 2 kids. So my family was definitely on my mind. I didn't finish the college education that I had planned out, and I was thinking about my family, and if I were to lose my job, man, what was going to happen? What would I do? I had a family to provide for, and so this what really got me seriously thinking about a career in HVAC. And I had it fresh on my mind that I was able to fix the system. I was able to get it working, and I feel like I could do this as a job. And so one thing led to another. I started getting my resume together, and I started putting myself out there. Not really thinking that I was gonna switch careers, but I got a solid offer at an HVAC company, and I took it. I talked to my boss. I'm like, hey, things are looking that great here. I'm thinking about switching, and I'm gonna go on this interview. And he was like, okay, well, okay, yeah, you have to do what's best for you and your family. And I went on an interview, and yeah, they gave me a job. So I started as at an entry level position as a HVAC helper. That was my title, and what I was doing was installing the AC units. That was my job, and I did that for I think a little over 5 years, as well as some technical work, which is a little bit of diagnosing and repair. And so it got to a point at that job where our family situation was a little stressful. I was needed a lot at work, especially during the summer. And my wife, being a stay-at-home mom, was basically working harder than I was with 4 kids at home. And so things are stressful at work. Things are stressful at home for my wife. I get home, I'm tired, she's tired. Like, what can you do? And so we got to talking, and we're thinking, how are we going to do this? it's just a lot to, on our plates right now. And so at that time, I had already been working 5 years. And in Texas, you need at least 4 years experience working at an AC company before you can decide to get a contractor's license for HVAC work. And I had put in 5 years at that time. So, we started talking, we're praying, asking God, wow, what do we do here? We want to be a family, but work, money, stress, what do we do? And so we basically, out of divine inspiration, it came to us to, what, it's time to start a business for the family, family owned, for families, and that's what we did. We started going down the process of just even seeing how to start a business. What can we do it? Can we not? And so once I started going down that hole of how do we start this? How do we do this? I started to become, a little overwhelmed. One day, as I was just kind of thinking to myself, I felt like God inspired me. He told me, hey, just start the business and I'll take care of the rest. And I was like, what does that mean? Okay, here we go. And that's basically how CMG got started. I left out a lot, but I'm trying to keep this a little bit short. I usually go long when I tell my stories. So I wanted to make this video, and do like a little intro video about CMG, who we are, things like that. Right now, it's just me, my wife, this truck, and honestly, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here, to be doing this, to be able to provide the service for everyone who needs it. And really, more than anything, I want this business to be a business that people can trust, that my customers can trust, where they see that I'm offering honest work with integrity, like the website says. And I want my customers to experience that when I come out and meet them and do work for them. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to do it quick, but it's longer than I had wanted it to be. But thank you very much for watching. If you stayed to the end, you're a rock star. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll make more videos in the future and post them to YouTube or something. So thank you very much.